Hi, belief and reality folks. How are you? I haven't really made a video for you all in particular yet in the semester. And I hope that this video finds you well. I hope that you all are safe and happy and healthy, and kind of adjusting to this new reality. I really enjoyed reading your reflections last week on the allegory of the cave, and how it kind of applied to COVID and how it applied to kind of this new reality that we're all being forced to kind of be comfortable with. Because it's been challenging. I won't lie. I mean, it's been challenging for me to kind of adapt. It's been challenging to kind of be in my apartment for a while. So I hope that you all are happy and healthy and adjusting well. So this week, as kind of the lecture on Tuesday indicated, we're talking about personal identity, right? We're talking about kind of this idea of like who are we, and who we think we are, who it is we've been, who it is we hope to be, and maybe all of that again kind of wraps up into this overall conception of identity. It should be noted, I really wish that we had class period to discuss this. I find that these conversations are so rich and so worthwhile and so enjoyable, frankly, that it's really a shame that we can't all be together for this. So this week, and for this day, just to kind of again get more familiar with this conversation on personal identity, and we'll see how this kind of like sets us up nicely for next week, is looking at and thinking about this piece by Eric Olson. You can have the PDF there. It's a long piece. I'm not going to get through all of it. I just kind of want to get through a couple of the initial questions that he asks, because I think that those questions give us a good starting point here of what to consider here on this idea of personal identity. Okay, and so I mean, similar to as we would have done in class, I'm going to record a couple of videos. These are usually anywhere between 6 and 10 minutes because it's easier for uploading purposes. So there might be a couple, probably 2, maybe 3. And so work through these and kind of follow along with the PDF, either print or, you can just kind of like pull up the screen and then have my voice in the background if you want. And then hopefully this plus the discussion from Tuesday gives you all enough to kind of work with for your reflection. So here we go. All right. So personal identity deals with questions that arise about ourselves by virtue of being people, okay, or persons. Many of these questions are familiar, and these all happen to us, from time to time. What am I? Like, what have I made of? Okay. When did I begin? That's a philosophically interesting question. And what will happen to me when I die? Okay. Again, it's such a damn shame that we aren't in class. These questions are so good. This question of like, when did I begin? Like, that's interesting, right? Like, the idea of did we begin when we first kind of, came into the actual physical world? Was it just kind of, through the, development process in the womb? Was it even before that? Like the thought that maybe our parents had of us, if that's even a thing, right? So, yeah, when did you begin, right? And then, what kind of thing are we? Are we just an animal, just like every other animal, or is there something more to us, right? And again, this goes back into conversations of Ishmael, conversations kind of into taker mentality. Or are we, again, just kind of, something else, something more than just, mere animalistic, okay? I shall first survey the main questions of personal identity. Most of the chapter will then focus on what has received the most attention in recent times, our identity through time. Okay? And again, we're familiar with this question, right? How am I the same? Sitting here making this video lecture, how am I the same right now as I was when I was 5 years old, right? There has maybe been something that's endured through time, some sort of briceness, right? Maybe not. Maybe I'm completely different. Maybe I'm a new being entirely. But how do we understand our change of identity through time? Okay. All right. And so what Olson does here is he kind of works through, again, some of these kind of persistent questions, offers some preliminary feedback, but ultimately, again, goes into it deeper throughout the article, but I don't think we're going to scratch all of the depth there. Okay. All right, so this question of like, who am I? Okay. We often speak of personal identity as what makes us people that we are. Your identity in this sense consists roughly of what makes you unique as an individual and different from others, right? And this is, again, kind of an interesting question, like what makes each individual unique, right? We're told from a young age that we're all special, that we're all unique, that we're one, that no fingerprints are ever the same, that we're all one snowflake and one giant snowman, snow person. I just made that up. I don't know. Hey, um, uh, or is the way you see and define yourself, or the network of values and convictions, the structure of your life, this individual identity, is a property or perhaps set of properties. Okay? Presumably, your identity is contingently. Like, you may in fact have had a completely different identity where you have been born to a different set of parents, where you two have even been born to the same parents but on a different day, in a different year, right, in a different state, right? All of that perhaps contributing to maybe a difference of personal identity. Okay? All right. So there's questions to ask. Personhood. What is it to be a person? What is necessary and what suffices for something to count as a person, as opposed to a non-person? Okay? So again, like these questions obviously are asked in social political commentary and discussions on issues of life. Like, when does life begin, right? That's a highly sought after question. It's a highly engaged question. But, we can ask, at what point in one's development from a fertilized egg there comes to be a person, or what would it take for a chimpanzee or perhaps a Martian, to be, or an electronic computer to be a person, if they ever could be. Okay, so again, like, what are the distinguishing qualities of personhood? Okay. All right. So here's this question of persistence. Okay. That how do we persist through time? How do I, right? How am I the same person as I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, even 5 days ago, even yesterday, right? Because, there have been certain things that have happened to me in my life that maybe have changed me, right? But yet I'd still maintain that maybe I'm the same. So again, what kind of thing persists? What kind of what does persist perhaps for us to continue to be the same people through time? And we'll pick that back up with that question in just a moment.